Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. Once again, I'm off to the races, having a nice conversation, and it's like, oh, it's time to go live. Let's go live. Liz, welcome back to the Pirate Broadcast. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Russ. Thanks so much. Yeah, that's what I like. Partying on Monday. That's what we want to do.
No kidding.
We're not waiting until Friday. Come on. Let's get
the party started, right?
Yes, sir. You and me, we're on it.
You know, the funny thing about it is we were talking about Amazon publishing, and I know it's a huge opportunity for a lot of business owners, speakers, authors, coaches that need a little bit more exposure or want to build some authority in the market. Having a book is really an amazing thing. So for those that don't know you or haven't met you or haven't watched the last episode, Liz, give us a snapshot of, who you are and, being a pirate and all. You share a little bit about what you're doing now. Right. And let's get a sense for who Liz Lawless is.
Okay. Well, I've been, it's really funny, Russ. I just figured out recently, really in the last 6 months or so, that I've actually been in the publishing business for 48 years. I started when I was 11. My parents had a Christian bookstore. So my mother opened a brick and mortar store. Okay. And, I was inventorying. I was, my job was to inventory the children's book. And back then you had to do it by hand. We had to write for, Dr. Seuss Green Eggs and Ham, or for pink children's Bibles, or whatever it was. We did a few secular things, but mostly Christian related books and Bibles. So I learned about all the traditional publishers. I mean, we went to the bookseller shows, the Christian bookseller, the big trade shows, met authors, met publishers. And I was learning all that by osmosis, just from watching my mother be in business. And, I didn't even realize that till about 6 months ago.
You didn't even know you didn't even know that it could be a job, huh?
Right, cool. Right. It was fun for me. Yeah. That was the fun stuff, because I was always a reader. I wasn't a writer. I didn't write a lot. I mean, I probably journaled, kept a diary like most little girls did. But I went to college and majored in journalism and speech. And that's when I really learned to write. And when I got out of school, it was like, can I write creatively? So I took a creative writing class with my mom. I wrote a little story. The instructor thought it might be good. I tried to traditionally publish it. I sent it out to my 50 people and got 47 rejections, And like most people do, put it away and said, I guess this book publishing's not for me. It's too hard. I can't figure it out. Yeah. I jumped into entrepreneurship, starting a creative agency, an advertising agency, basically. And so it went from there. But about 5 years later, it came back around, and I had an opportunity to attend a children's book festival. And this was a children's book. And by then I had a business, 5 years in, I had cash flow, I had a printer, I had an artist. So I said self-publishing was becoming a bigger thing. It was not a big deal back. This was 1992. So time ago, And so anyway, that's how I got into it. I always wrote my own stuff and started publishing my own stuff, because I went and sold my first 100 copies. And I was like, yeah, this is great. I'm in this book business. I love this. A couple of days later, woke up and said, well, I guess now I got to sell that other 2,400 copies. Back then you had to buy a bunch. You couldn't just buy one book like you can today. So it's the greatest time in the world to be in publishing. And about 8 years ago, I started helping other people publish, because I saw so many people taking advantage of. I had 2 or 3 friends, doctors that were very smart, very, the top in their field. And I got taken advantage of by Vanity Press, the tunes of $50,000 or $100,000. And that's ridiculous, because it doesn't cost that much. You're going to have to invest a few $1,000s. Let's get real. This is a business. And that's the biggest problem that people don't realize. They don't, they kind of consider it a hobby, but publishing is a business just like any other business.
Heck yeah.
And so you need to learn up front, or you need to be prepared up front to spend a few $1,000s to move down the road, because, we've talked about, I think maybe in the past, book cover. You got to have a great book cover. It's all about the cover and that first copy on the back of the book. That's what people are going to pick up. That's what people are going to look at. That's what they're going to read on the description. And, you know, Amazon, whether you love them or hate her, they're the biggest gorilla in the room. And
Yeah.
your customer is going to Amazon. Okay.
Yeah.
So we always start there. It's
Yeah.
the easiest platform to use. You can get it up for free. They take a percentage on the back end once you actually sell something. So that's nice. Yes, there are a lot of
So
books.
walk us through. So for the pirate community here,
Love those pirates.
I love those pirates.
I love pirates.
And I kind of want to have you walk us through. So I'm sitting here thinking about writing a book. You know, there's many people that think about writing a book,
Right.
and then they stop because they get overwhelmed. They think about all of the things that they need to do or have to do, or they don't know anything about.
Right.
So just systematically, Liz, walk us through concept to completion.
Okay.
You know, just kind of basic bare bones steps.
Well, obviously you got to have a topic to write about, and you should write about something you know, because you're going to live with this for 3, 4, 5, 10 years, more than likely. You know, if it's a nonfiction book, if you're writing fiction, I'm talking about nonfiction writing right now. Right. Fiction is kind of a totally different animal, and that's not my focus, and so I can't address that as much. The publishing is the same, but the marketing and the writing of fiction is very different from nonfiction. But for nonfiction, if you're looking for legacy or leverage, and most people as business people are looking for leverage, they need more reach, they need more revenue, they need more respect, they need people in the marketplace to respect them, and a book does that for you, whether it's a well-written book or a badly written book. But writing the book first, the topic, getting your table of contents, you know, getting a few wins in there early on. And you can use a working title. Just get started. Start writing. That's what you have to do first. Once you've got a manuscript, you need to let some other people read it, because we're too close to it, you know, and we don't want to let people read it, but we need that feedback from other people. Then you got to have a great cover. So you got to get a cover designed. That's the thing. If you're going to pay for two things, the two things you got to pay for is a cover and editing. Once you edit, then it has to be laid out like production. Just, you know, the pages have to be laid out. You have to add copyright pages. You have to add a title page. You put usually the bio at the back of the book. Maybe you've got some other things that you're trying to lead that person to. That's the other thing you want to do. You want to put those call to actions in your book at certain places where it makes sense. You know, maybe at the end of one chapter or after a sentence, you can say, if you'd like more information about this, email me at. My website at. Follow me on social media, because you want to give that person the next step. Because if they like you and trust you and want more information from you, you know, you want to be able to tell them that all along, you know, in just subtle and easy ways, not spammy or not salesy kinds of ways. So there's some ethical ways to do that. Then you got to launch, you know, you got to get it out there in front of people, and you got to get them to the marketplace, you know, and that's what happens. People spend years and years and years writing their book, and then they wake up and go, oh, you know, I got to publish, I got to sell this book.
I guess I got to share it with somebody. Huh?
What do I do now? You know, and so there's so much good information online, so you can do that. I mean, you and I talked earlier, I'm kind of easing back out of the day-to-day production, but I have a weekly newsletter. It's a free newsletter. I'm posting 3 times a week. And the 5 areas are writing, publishing.
And where can they find that, Liz?
They can find that at www.lizlawless.com. So that's LIZLAWLESS as an outlaw. That's why I'm a pirate. I'm an outlaw. And and so, you know, I'm posting about writing on Sunday. I'm posting about publishing on Tuesday and marketing on Thursday. And so that's the other thing. They're really kind of, in my mind, 5 categories, but there's 3 big categories: writing, publishing, and marketing. In my mind, the other 2 categories are launching, because that's kind of a whole separate thing once you get your book out there and you pre-promote. And then the last thing is distribution. I mean, and that's a part of the sales, and that can be a lot of things, you know, and that's why people get overwhelmed, because you can sell to libraries, you can sell to bookstores, you can sell to corporations, you can sell to nonprofits, you can sell to the military. You know, you can sell to colleges and universities, depending on
outlets.
Right. A lot of outlets that people don't know about. All they think about is Amazon and Barnes and Noble and Apple, maybe Google. You know, those are the big platforms. Kobo, big ebook platform is Kobo. And so it's, it is a lot of information, but you can do this. And that's why we're here. We're here to hold a space for people who want to write, who've always dreamed of writing that bestseller. And, like you say, we have a process for how that works. You can learn anything about publishing that you want to learn about today. Obviously, if somebody calls you and starts offering you some kind of big deal and they want to publish your book and all of that, and you've never heard of them, check them out. Go online.
Well, I actually I went through the process, and this is one thing I'd like to ask about, because I did a co-author book,
right.
Where a bunch of authors got together and we talked about marketing, and it was a international Amazon bestseller, and in a category, and so I am a published author,
right.
And it's one of those things. It's like, hey, that was a cool experience. It was fun. And I could do that again, probably more than once. Right. And I want people to understand that there are people out there like yourself, Liz, that have the experience that you're looking for if you want to write a book.
Right.
And you're not alone. You can do this. If you have an inclination and you want to do it, you can. Hey, I got a few people in the room here.
Okay, let's talk.
Elise, she's in from South Africa.
Oh, wow.
I love that you're here. Thank you so much, Elise. Russ Hedge, who is an author, he just published his latest book. He's working on his second version of it. Good morning, Pirates.
I loved his interview. Y'all had a fabulous interview. I've watched that a couple of times.
Yeah.
Go watch the interview with Russ and Russ.
It's perfect. Today's going to be awesome. Absolutely, positively. Kathy Spooner's here. Good morning, Pirates. And I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this name correctly. Angelica, the procedure of writing is the best moment of an author. The whole process, writing is, to me, I've filled out many moleskin binders and books, written a lot of blog posts, lots of blog posts.
Right. And a lot of people do. A lot of people take their blog post and make that a book, so if you've been writing in other places, you can come from anywhere, your information can come from anywhere. A lot of people say I'm not a great writer. And so you can interview other people, just like Russ does all the time. Russ is interviewing people. He's not writing all this information down. He should be. But,
I actually have transcriptions in every post.
All right. There you go. We're moving.
So it wouldn't take much to convert that into a book, Liz.
That's right. And that's the reason to have a podcast. That's the reason to have a Facebook page, or what social be on social media, or a LinkedIn page, so that you can connect with people and so that you can share information. Because just like Russ is saying, people have to trust you. They have to get to know you and like you. And everybody's not going to like your stuff. Your stuff's not going to be for everybody. That's the biggest mistake that we have people find. And it's not that your stuff's not for everybody. You can't market to everybody. You don't have enough money to market to everybody. So that's why you got to choose a primary and a secondary market. Women that are, 30 with 2 kids trying to lose 50 pounds, they're a totally different market than a 65-year-old man, professional man trying to lose 50 pounds.
Right.
Okay? They don't get their information in the same place. They don't follow the same people. They don't interact with media.
That's a great point.
And other things. And so it's more about the marketing than it is the fact of, audience. But you got to target your audience. You got to write to somebody. Pick a person that that would read your book. Give them a name. Give them an income. Give them a backstory, just like you would if you were doing characters. And write to that person, because you'll write more intimately. You'll write informally instead of, because today people are more concerned about authenticity. They don't care as much about the fancy and the splash and the dash. And, people need help. We're in a situation where people need help. And if you can authentically help somebody, you've solved a problem, you've had a struggle, you've got to the other side of that struggle, you can help somebody else with that struggle. And I think we're doing people a disservice if we don't. sharing gifts and talents with people.
Hyatt says 2 books to my credit.
There you go.
Russ Hedge says that know, like, and trust factor is so important and it takes action. Great info, Liz. Thank you. Marcia Reese says, good morning. 4 books under my belt. Such a great experience.
Yeah, there's nothing like holding that book in your hand and knowing that you wrote it, or it's your creative action and energy that you're putting out in the world. And, I'm kind of fall on the other side. I'm not as great a fan of ghostwriting. I mean, I think you can interview somebody and get their stuff and help them put something together. I think that's a different thing. But we all have a different voice. I don't speak the way you speak, Russ. And so as long as somebody's just reading in a book, that's fine. But if they ever meet you and actually talk to you, what's going to be running through their mind is,
this isn't the person who I was reading.
This doesn't sound like Russ. This doesn't sound like Liz. I mean, that's what's going through people's minds. And so, so I kind of lean the other direction. I'm not against anybody doing that because a lot of times people don't have time. Yeah. Time is the only commodity that we can't get back. And so, we need to be doing something we enjoy, doing something with people that we enjoy work. We need to work with people we like to work with. We need to share our gifts with the world because, we never know. And for authors, if it helps one person, if one person sends you notes and says, man, it really helped me. I read something or I liked it. And it's not the whole book. It's really one sentence, one phrase, one story that you told that really touched somebody's heart. And they went, wow, and they cried or they laughed out loud or they thought, man, I've been there. I've had that similar experience. You've made that connection. And, and that's what's really invaluable. And, there's nothing like it. So I'm not getting out of the publishing business, but I am going to do the newsletter. And that's mostly how people are going to be able to get in touch with me. Is through that. It's a partly free and partly paid. So if you want to do a deeper dive, you can pay $47 a month or $397 a year. Yeah. I'm taking a few founding members right now. I only have about 6 spots left, but that's a one-time fee that's going to give you complete access. So if somebody wants to do that, it's lizlawless.com. And it'll take you there and it'll show up. It'll say something like author, adventure, publishing posse, because it's Liz's publishing posse, of course, with my.
We should have done a giveaway, Liz. We
should have done it. We can do that. If you want to do that with your audience, we can.
We could probably do that.
You want to give away a consulting thing or a free year? We give away a free year or something.
Marcia Reese says, I wrote a companion workbook for one book. It was a great giveaway with purchase marketing tool. Perfect. So I bet we can. We could probably do a giveaway here if you want to try.
Yeah, you just want to pick a name or rotate or.
No, I'll show you. This is kind of. I got a cool little thing that I'll share with you here.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do this because let me do the giveaway. And we'll do it at the end, but I want to do.
Yeah, all I'll need is their email address, and then I can subscribe them and send them an invitation and give them a free year.
Pirate. So what we need to do is we need to put. We need to have you type in Pirate Nation, hashtag Pirate Nation. Here, I'll put it up here on the screen. We can do this. See, we got it down.
That's right.
So type in the Pirate Nation into the chat, and everybody that enters the drawing, can win, take a chance to win whatever Liz wants to be generous.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'm happy to do a consultation. I'll spend an hour on the phone with somebody talking through what they want, and then we'll give them a year's, membership to the Author Adventure newsletter.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
thank you so much. So Kathy Spooner's already in. Type in hashtag Pirate Nation for your opportunity to win. And
Yeah, and
Would
that
you say?
workbook idea a while ago was great too, because that's the other thing. What else do you have? Can you put a journal with it? Can you put a workbook with it? Can you, even like you say, are people writing children's books? I mean, they're doing T-shirts, they're doing posters of their book cover and blowing them up and putting some kind of a quote or something from the book on that, or some kind of encouragement to kids, whether it's to keep reading or whether it's to help others, or whether it's to be kind, whether it's to smile, like all the stuff that you do, Russ, that we're
I
so.
could probably write a book on kindness is cool.
You could write a book on kindness is cool, for sure, and share the stories of kindness that you've seen and that you've entered, and the people you've interacted with. That's a great thing. So there's all those supplemental things. And like you say, today books are not just books. You've got ebooks, you got audio books. The big things are going to be, we kind of talked about a little bit, Amazon's pushing series. They've always had series, but now they've got a way for it comes up all at one time. If you've got a series of 3 books, 4 books, 5 books, 10, whatever it is, and it's still a lot more with fiction than it is with nonfiction. But even then, in children's books, but now it's becoming a bigger thing. Audio books obviously going to be big still. I think ebooks are still big. I think they're bigger with corporations, which is an interesting thing for corporate buy. You need to be thinking if you're in some kind of a nonfiction kind of thing, especially if you got something related to communication or sales or finance or parenting.
I could write a book on live streaming and lead generation.
Yep. Exactly. So any of those kinds of things, I think, like you say, in that corporate market, the library market, school market, those ebooks are going to be a little bit better. I mean, organizations, audiobooks are going to be great. But that's a little more costly. It's easier than it used to be. But you still got to have high quality, because once you post it to a platform, they're going to run it through their checks and balances. And most of the time you're not going to get through. Most of the time they're going to send it back and say, oh, there's some background noise. There's, somebody shut the door, somebody's jingling their keys, somebody's tapping their pen on the table. We all have these nervous things, that go on. Right. And regular audio picks that up. And so, it does take a little bit more to get those audio books. But I think that's a big open market, because, and events are coming back. I mean, you always sell more than you sell yourself, and that's killed authors in the last year with COVID. Obviously, we've had to find other ways to try to sell books, or we've tried to build up our marketing and our platforms and things like that. In the meantime, we're all learning new skills with Zoom and live streaming and
just think a year ago how many people had to learn how to get on a Zoom call or a live stream.
Right, exactly.
Just for work. I mean, it's just super simple.
Well, it's like you say, and those companies have gone gangbusters. I've got a friend who had a small business company, and they're basically providing that conference calling and what is Zoom, if you will, for small businesses. And they were just starting, and they just taken off like a shot. They got $30,000 in partner advertising from AT&T. So you never know when an opportunity is going to come up, and you never know when that opportunity is going to crush you either. I mean, it can go.
It can go either way.
It can go either way. So you just got to have an upbeat attitude. You got to take it as a lesson and say, what can I learn, or how can I pivot? How can I shift and go in a different direction? And people are, like you say, right now, people need help. And if you've got information that can help somebody, a book is a great way to do that. It's a great marketing tool. If you're in some kind of profession, if you're a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, especially if you answer the same questions over and over again all the time for clients or for new people. I mean, to just give them a book. I mean, we had a weight loss client, and that was kind of some of our very first number ones that we had. And I used to could keep you up for about 9 months, year. Wow. Now, if you can't, now it's a week, 3 or 4 days a week, 2 weeks. I mean, if you can stay up longer than that, because there's just so many good books. There's so many people writing now that weren't writing before. So it takes a little bit, it takes a little bit more maneuvering, and it takes a little bit more study and research to know, how to do and where to do. But there's nothing that people can't learn themselves.
Yeah.
Self-publishing is you have all of the cost and all of the control. Traditional publishing still exists, but that's a long-term play because you got to find an agent, a literary agent. That takes sometimes a year or more. Then that's going to take a year or more to get your book published through a traditional publisher.
Yeah.
But you can still do that.
Yeah.
Partner publishing, like what we do, what we've talked about, is you share some of the costs, the author shares some of the production costs. But like you say, you get access to a lot of information that you wouldn't have, and you get that support and knowledge, and you're not so overwhelmed because, there's somebody that's holding your hand or you can go to and ask the question, that's been down that road before. So,
Yeah.
and like you say, luckily for me, it was really interesting. I had not realized that the foundation that I got from being in the retail book business. So I understand that part of the business. My dad was a teacher, so I understand the school part of the business. Libraries, the library was my favorite place. Growing up, as I said, I was a reader, didn't write until I got into college and out of college. But books, we still like to hold them in our hand or take them with us. And I got my Kindle with 1,000 books on it. If I go to the park or I go sit on a patio, that's my guilty pleasure. Guiltless. My guiltless pleasure is
Guiltless pleasure. Yes.
Guiltless pleasure is patio sitting with intelligent conversation and fine food and drink, and good friends, with good friends. So like we're doing right now, having this conversation. We got to go sit on a patio. You got to come to
No
Dallas.
kidding. Let's find a patio sometime, Liz.
Yeah, you're in Phoenix, is that right?
I'm in Phoenix. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my niece just moved to Albuquerque. Her and her husband just moved to Albuquerque. I know it's like on the other side of the state, but at least now I got a reason to come.
Not that far away.
Another reason to come to New Mexico and come that direction because I'm West. I've flown through. But I've never actually been there to stay.
Yeah.
See it.
Well, this time of year it's a little warm, so you can come in the wintertime.
Come in the fall or winter.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who's the winner?
So yeah, let's do this drawing here, and we can give it a few more minutes. If anybody wants to enter the drawing, let's do one more last call to action here. We're giving away. What are we giving away, Liz?
We're giving an hour consulting call with Liz and a year's free membership to my Author Adventure newsletter.
Holy cow, that's a lot. So if you're interested in winning something and connecting with Liz, learning a lot about book publishing, self-publishing, writing, marketing, all of the things that you need to do to be an author and a publisher, just type in #Pirate Nation, and we will do this drawing here. So we got a few people joining us. I know that there's a few more people that have they may have dropped off, but let's do this thing. Okay. Let's see. Let me share this screen. This is kind of fun. I like this.
I was going to say, I need to give me one of those. Send me a link or an email about that.
So all of a sudden, okay, we're going to draw. Hide this. Draw.
Oh, look at that.
All right. Who's the winner? Winner! Kathy's winner. Kathy, awesome. Thank you so much for joining in the party here. I love it.
That's great. Look at that. That's so fun.
So thank you so much, Liz, for being here. Thank you so much for sharing all this great information. I hope somebody watches this either today or in the future or sometime at some point and understands that it's not impossible. You can be an author. You can publish your book. And there is help.
And it's the best time in the world to publish because you can get access to people, your own audience. You can build your own audience, and there are so many more opportunities today that didn't exist even 10 years ago. Certainly didn't exist, when I started in the business, 30 years ago or more. And so it's fabulous. And if you've got that dream, we're here to hold that space for you for that dream. So There are a lot of good people online. Just check people out. That's the only thing, especially if somebody wants money from you. You always need to get 2 or 3 references for those folks, or go online, Better Business Bureau. And even then, read the comments, do a little research, so that you don't get taken advantage of, because the sad thing is a lot of people that will take advantage of you too. And so we want you to avoid that. But
so I have one last question too. What is there a sweet spot for nonfiction as far as length of book?
Yeah, shorter, better is a lot better now. I mean, because people just don't have as much time. So usually 180, 150, 180 to 200, 220 pages. You get much past 220, 250. People just don't have as much time. Yeah. So you want to write shorter, you want to write shorter books. You want to write shorter chapters. I mean, for years ago, the thing used to be 10 chapters, at least 10, 12, 15 pages. Today, you're better off to do 20 chapters of 3 pages, because we just have a shorter attention span.
Right.
We're used to sound bites. You know how to write like that. I mean, you do video.
But series, I could see very easily writing a series about, any subject.
Yeah. So like you say, if you're talking about marketing, what you want to do is, maybe talk about, like you say, video live streaming, one book. The next book is, is social media. The next book is traditional media. The next book is, something else. I mean, there's, the marketing goes on and on and on. That's why the sweet spot for me has always been from manuscript to launch. Because, we're going to talk about what some of those marketing opportunities are, but we don't deliver all those things. Every once in a while we do some media, or we're going to do the social media graphics to get you started and show you how to do that, and tell you what to post about and help you write your emails when you launch. But that's an ongoing activity. And so you're going to learn skills. You're going to learn stuff about yourself that you never even knew.
That's awesome.
And you're going to grow and be a better person, for the experience. Yeah.
Liz, thank you so much for being here. I know that it's a fascinating subject, and I encourage people to go to lizlawless.com, find out more, and, reach out to her, connect, start a conversation, because you're only one conversation away to get what you need. So, and as always,
so fun to be on the Pirate Broadcast, and we'll be talking offsite about that.
Always welcome, Liz. Take care. And as always, everyone, kindness is cool, smiles are free, and you enjoy your day. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate